At the beginning of the movie, we see Sandy. Sandy was 40 years old and she is a housewife. Sandy lives with her husband and 2 children and she is very happy in her life. One day when Sandy watches the video of her son's birthday. When she comes to know that her husband is having an affair with a girl named Molly, she feels very bad seeing this and she divorces her husband and comes to New York with her children to live a new life and run her home. Sandy was looking for a job there and also needed a place to live, and for this she goes to a cafe. In the cafe she meets a 25-year-old boy named Iram. Iram also had a recent breakup. And like Sandy, he was also looking for happiness in his life. Sandy was trying to settle down in New York with her children and also joins a class for self-defense. Here she meets Iram again. Graduate. Despite this, Iram was not getting any good job and hence he had to do all the work which he does not want to do. Then the instructor of that class asks Sandy to vent out all her anger on Iram. Recalling her husband's actions, she vents out all her anger on Iram. First, she abuses him and then beats him, treating him as a punching bag. Next day, Sandy meets Iram and apologizes to him for yesterday's incident. At the same time, she asks Iram if he will become her children's babysitter. Hearing this, Iram also says yes to her. The same night, Iram comes to Sandy's house to see the children. Here he comes to know that Sandy's children are very strange. On the other hand, we see Sandy with a man. Sandy is on a date with him. That man is also very weird and he was behaving strangely with Sandy. Here Sandy is not able to be comfortable with him. Here we see Iram. He gradually becomes friends with Sadie's children, but at the same time the man starts doing even more strange things with Sandy. Now Sandy is fed up with him and she leaves him and returns to her home. Iram had put the kids to sleep. After coming home, Sandy talks to Iram about her bad date. Next day we see Iram in the cafe. Just then both of Sandy's children come there and they tell Iram about their mother. Hearing that she has died, Iram runs to Sandy's house, but he sees that Sandy is not dead but sleeping. After this we see Sandy. His life has now become better than before and he also gets promotion in his work. It was found that since Sandy's work has increased a lot, she hires Iram as a permanent babysitter. After this we see Iram with his parents. Iram's parents are completely free from his babysitter job. They were also not happy because Iram was a graduate from a good college and they did not want Iram to do the job of a babysitter. On the insistence of his parents, Iram started looking for a good job along with babysitting. Like this, some time passed. Sandy and Iram become very close to each other. Then we see Sandy with her friends. Sandy's friends understand that Sandy has now started liking Iram. Meanwhile, Iram also has no interest in other girls. Now we started enjoying living with Sandy and her children. Then we see Sandy. She gives 2 tickets to Iram for a fighting match and asks him to go with one of his friends, but Iram has no friends and that's why he asks Sandy to go with him. Sandy also agrees to Iram's suggestion. Next day both of them go to watch the match. Both of them like it very much. Then a man comes to meet Iram. Actually the man was the chairman of the same company where Iram had gone for the interview. From their conversation, Sandy came to know that Iram had got a job in that company but Iram left that job for babysitting. Sandy asked Iram to do the same. Iram asks the reason and Iram tells Sandy that for the first time he is enjoying doing something and he enjoys being with Sandy and her children. Then we see a boxer fall directly on Iram and this causes Iram to be injured. Sandy comes to her house with Iram and asks him to stay here tonight. But suddenly Sandy's ex-husband also reaches there and he takes Iram with Sandy and children. Seeing this, he starts fighting with Sandy. He wanted Sandy to come back to him. After this, Iram takes the children to the room and comes out, then the man asks Iram to leave from there but Iram does not go from there. And he asks Sandy to vent out her anger. Here Sandy was not able to say all the things which she had said in the self-defense class. Then Iram starts saying the same things in front of her, then Sandy also vents out her anger on her husband. Here, Sandy starts abusing her ex-husband. Hearing this, Sandy's husband returns from there. After this, Sandy tells Iram that tomorrow I want to go on a date with you. After this, Iram talks about the date. He tells his friend that his friend feels very bad after hearing this because he has a stage performance on the same night and he wanted Iram to come to see it. Iram also did not want to upset his friend, so he takes Sandy to the performance. After the show is over, both of them go to a party. In the party, both of them start coming closer to each other, but then Iram meets his ex-girlfriend there. She tells Iram that I want to come back to you, but Iram ignores her. After the party is over, both of them return home and start getting intimate with each other, but Sandy's son sees them having fun and the next day Iram himself takes both the children. He talks about his and Sandy's relationship. Then we see Sandy and her friend. Here Sandy tells her friend that I have fallen in love with the babysitter of my own children. Next day, Sandy confronts her mom and dad. Goes closer, Sandy understands from the actions of Iram's mother that she does not like their relationship, but Sandy does not care because Iram loves her and her children very much because Iram is only 25 years old, so Sandy's friends make fun of Iram, but Iram does not care about all these things. Now Sandy also starts realizing that she is much bigger than Iram and she will ruin Iram's life. Next day when she is in the office, she starts feeling very strange there. After getting checked, she comes to know that she is pregnant. Then Sandy tells this to Iram. At first Iram gets nervous, but then he tells Sandy that he is very happy. And he also wants us to stay together forever. Next day both of them go to the doctor. The doctor says that Sandy is pregnant but she will not be able to give birth to this child because Sandy is very old. Hearing this, Sandy gets very upset. She goes and after coming out, she starts fighting with Iram. While talking, she tells Iram that it is not right for them to live together because she is 15 years older than Iram and they both have no future together, so now we both saying that they cannot live together. Sandy leaves the place crying. After this, both of them separate. Iram also leaves the job of babysitting and goes to another place for traveling. Even after traveling to different countries, Iram Sandy, and had not been able to forget her children. Here Sandy was trying to become an ideal mother and she had also got another promotion in her job. Many years passed like this and now Sandy had become a successful reporter, while Iram was different. While traveling in different countries, he was also doing the work of teaching children. Many girls try to get into a relationship with Iram, but Iram refuses them all because now he started enjoying being alone. After this, they met each other one day. We see Sandy in a restaurant and there she meets Iram. Both are very happy to see each other. Iram tells Sandy that a few years ago I have adopted a child. Then when Sandy comes to know that Iram is now single, then she gets into a relationship with Iram again and both of them start living happily, and this is where the movie ends.